Thanks so much for joining us again for another great webinar. We're on a roll here. Today we've got a great guy from Austin, Texas, Nolly Williams. If you don't know Nolly, you're living under a rock because he's been in the business for a very long time. Let me just delete this one over here so we can get going here. And Nolly, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, where you want to start? I'm 47. I'm not eligible. No, just kidding.
All right, we're done. That's good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Los Angeles, and now I'm met in the middle. I live in Austin, Texas. I started in the music business, got into, started in the record business, got into the real estate business after I had to get a real job. And I was 33. I took 21 listings my first 74 days in the business, and then I just never looked back, man. So what I like to do though, most of all, guys, is you guys probably know this. I like to teach, man. I tell people, you invite me to a barbecue, I'm gonna start teaching a class. It's just what I do. I love teaching. And so I found that out. I mean, I've always known that, but I really found it out several years ago. When I found that their lives were changing. I had a guy come up to me, just a quick story. A guy came up to me and I was at a crossroads. I was at a big convention and I was at a crossroads, like, should I do this teaching thing? Cause I had a guy he Facebooked me about a week and a half ago. And he says, man, are you making more money teaching? And I was like, heck no, I can make 10 times as much money selling real estate. But teaching is my heart, is my passion. And I was in this kind of crossroads, like, do I still just focus on real estate, or do I focus on what I love to do? My new passion, which is teaching. Yeah. And so this guy comes up to me, I'm in the coffee line, and he says, man, can I buy you coffee? And I'm like, well, do I know you? Have we met somewhere? And he says, man, I've never met you before, but you've changed my life. You changed my family's life. He said, a year ago, I had one listing and I was on my way out of the business. My family told me, go get a real job. And he said, I was down, man. I didn't know what to do next. And I watched a video that you did, and I took over 60 listings this past year from watching that video.
60 listings from watching one video?
Yeah. And I told him, I said, it wasn't me. It was you, because people don't understand the potential that they already have. It's just that I help inspire people to the potential and the greatness that they have within them already. And so he got a few techniques, tips, and stuff like that. And he took over 60 listings. He said, but it's not just that. He said, I've been able to put food on the table for my family, and I wasn't able to do that before. And so that's what I'm going for, man. That gives me the adrenaline rush. I'm a junkie when it comes to changing lives, man, and seeing people better than they used to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm into, man. That's what I love doing.
I love that.
That's my story.
So Nolly, tell us how you got 21 listings in your first 74 days in the business. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So what I did before I got my license, I was in a failed business. I was in the music business. We did super duper colossal good in that business, but I had no clue what I was doing. I was 21 years old when I started the record label. Started with $1,700, and it got to where we were making $150,000 a month. When we were making that kind of money, we got a call from EMI Capital, and they signed us with a distribution deal, $650,000 advance. And so it was, I was 29 years old when they signed me with them. I had 18 artists, 14 employees, living the dream, right? Wow. What I didn't know was that the digital era was right around the corner. And everybody kept saying, man, MP3s are coming. I mean, I'm like, man, we just got off the cassette. We ain't going to know digital, we barely come into CDs, but we didn't shift with the market. And so we found ourselves not being able to make sales, make our goals. And eventually we got sacked, we got canned by our distribution company. We lost our deal. And we were in the middle of a 5-year deal, 2.5 years in. And so my wife and I was like, man, what am I going to do next? Like, what are my skills? I started the rap label when I was 21, dropped out of college to do that. And I was like, okay, what can I do? So I knew I was good with people. I knew I was good at getting people to trust me and like me. very ethical, honest. And I loved real estate. So I decided to get into real estate, got my license in June of 2003. And I did not start practicing until December of 2003. What I did in the meantime was I did a lot of study. I read a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I read it twice. And I started building sort of the backstory around that. So I had a 5-month launch. You know, we talk about product launches now, right? When we do these product launches. That's essentially what I did. I built a farm. I did all this stuff, but I didn't launch into the business until, and it was really more for my own self-limiting beliefs. I didn't really believe I was ready, if you will. So I didn't progress. You know, perfection is the enemy of progress. And so I was a perfectionist. I wanted to get everything just right before I launched. But because I did that, it allowed me to, I started with I started with stuff I don't even teach anymore, but I had a 5,000 house farm. I had billboards in town that I would negotiate it really cheap because I knew how to negotiate, I had 4 billboards downtown for $500 a month for all 4 of them,
Wow.
And so just things like that. And so just by getting out there and focusing on listings from the very beginning, I was able to take over 21 listings. In fact, I still have my listing book from when, because I was with Prudential when I first started. And I had my listing book when I left. I was only there for 4 months. And I took 20 listings with me, when I left to my next company.
Wow.
And so I started hot and heavy, man. I started hot and heavy. And when I teach people,
hot and heavy, I love it.
I teach people that listening.
Is that your new course?
Hot
Starting
and heavy,
hot
boy.
and heavy
Hot
with
and
Nolly
heavy.
Williams.
108 days or less.
That is a really good title.
I just want to make. I want to make a comment because it's interesting. Like a lot of agents, they get into the business now. And they're like, I'm going to go to real estate school. I'm going to get out and I'm going to make all this money, right? But I don't know what I'm doing. But what you did was so interesting. Like you got your license and you didn't sell a single house purposely for 6 months, right? Like you did
I set it up, baby.
Good to set yourself up for success, that when you launch your product, like you said, a product launch, right? Like when Apple launches a new product, you just hear about it, right?
Yeah.
For like 6 months.
You're like, when's it coming out? I got to have it.
You did something that I've just never heard of in terms of a real estate agent starting their business, which is pretty amazing.
So can you take us through that process so that agents, let's say agents that have been in the business for a while or newer agents want to do the same thing? Because you said you had a 5,000 home farm. That's a lot.
Yeah.
How did you launch this? How did you do this? How can I duplicate you?
Yeah. Okay. So that's not even stuff I teach anymore, because I've learned that there's such easy. Golly, it's so much easier to do what I did than how I did it. Put it that way. And when I first started, because I came from the music business. So in the music industry, we groomed an artist for 9 months, before we put them out. So if I sign you to my label, you might see the shelves in a year, maybe if you're good. So what we would do and that was the only mentality I had. So what we would do with the artist is we would groom them for about 3 months. Then we put them in the studio, and then we would drop a single, and we still wouldn't come out with it for a new artist, and then it would take it was a 9-month process from the time that we got the finished CD, from the time that from the time we put them in the studio to the time we got a paycheck, took 9 months. So when I got in this business, I was like, man, you get paid quick. It takes like 2 months. I can list a house. It's on the market 30 days and I get paid. It takes me 60 days to get a check. I was like, whoa, I thought this was like Shazam, So I had a different mindset, and a lot of agents have a mindset where they're on that hustle, they're on the grind. They got to make it happen now. They got to get that money. They're in desperation mode, and they're operating from lack. And when you operate from lack, you make a lot of bad choices, bad decisions. So what I did was I took a 30,000-foot view. I looked at, how do I want to crack this? How do I want to set myself up? And so I did have the farm. I started off, I was an expired guy. They called me like the expired king until short sales came around. Then I got into short sales. I got into short sales probably around, I did my first short sale in '04, but probably until '09, I was more just straight expireds, man. I was banging them, hitting them. So I was big on the expireds. I had a big farm, and my sphere of influence was rocking. Like I had everybody that I knew, you know, I had my schedule. I had an 18 touch system that I would touch my people in my sphere of influence, because that's always going to be your biggest lead bucket. You know, it's your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche. For me, the niche was expireds. Your niche can change, and you could have multiple niches. So I decided what was going to be my farm area. I carved that out. And a lot of people don't realize that farming, you don't have to pay for your farming. So we didn't spend money. We basically, what we've always done is we partnered with other people that wanted to be in front of those same houses. And then we would just give them advertising space on our farm piece. You know, so if our farm piece, if we sent it out to, say, let's say, for example, if a new agent was to develop a 1,000 house farm and use every door direct mail, you know, it's 18.5 cents. They're going to spend about $200 for shipping, and then maybe $100 for printing and all that. So $300, and then they get, you know, a handyman and a lawn service and 2 other people that put in $75. And now they got 1,000 house farm at no cost to them because they put the whole thing together. Right.
Nice.
So I did a lot of stuff like that, man. When I had a van that was wrapped, like when we had, in the music business, we had like vehicles that were wrapped with our artists and stuff like that. And we were doing rap music. It was Christian rap, but it was still, man, these guys were like ex-thugs. I mean, they were rough, boy. They come in the studio, you gotta check your stuff when they leave. Nah, just kidding. They were good boys. They had turned good boys. But so it was really a purposeful strategy. And a lot of people, this is even the way I teach now, and it drives some agents crazy, but I teach first you learn and then you earn. First you learn and then you earn. And guess what? Man, you can earn a lot of money and change a lot of lives if you take the time to learn the business and to set up your strategy before you do implementation. It's not ready, fire, aim. Not at all. You know,
it's not ready, fire, aim.
Not ready, fire, aim. It's ready, aim.
No, that's like Tristan and I are ready, fire, aim type of guys.
Yeah, a lot of high D's are. Y'all high D's, boy.
Oh, it's terrible. I love your quote, man. First you learn and then you earn.
First you learn, then you earn. I used to do a 16-week course, and it would drive people nuts because they would pay for this course. They paid good money for it, and I wouldn't show them how to generate leads until probably like 9 weeks in.
See, I love that, man. I love it. No, honestly, because it's not just about the leads. Like you gotta build up to that. That's an incredible strategy. And I think we're in a day and age where even as agents, we want instant gratification. Like so many agents I know don't even work their sphere of influence and don't even nurture leads because it's not instant gratification. That's when pounding the phones every day to expireds and FSBOs. And while that's a great business model, you have to have multiple streams.
Absolutely.
You burn yourself out with that instant gratification.
Absolutely. You got to build a funnel, pipeline. You got to have a pipeline, like you're saying, no doubt.
So Nolly, let's talk about, so you were in the music business, and then you said you're at Prudential?
Yeah, I started with Prudential. And, you know, incidentally, man, I hit rock bottom for me. You know, the interesting thing is we were down to making $30,000 a month. Okay. And this is so funny because I remember having a conversation with my wife. Here I am, I'm 32 years old. I'm on my knees in tears. And I'm trying to figure out how could a person possibly run a business and live on $30,000 a month? You know, it's like, that's impossible to do. That's the mindset that I had. And a lot of people that come out of this entertainment business, the money is not even real. Like it's just, I don't know what we're thinking. Like we're drunk on some non-reality, you know what I'm saying? And so when I got into the real world where real things are real, you know, you don't have a 6,000 square foot house on 10 acres. You don't have an office building on your 10-acre property that you can just walk out the back deck and be at your office. You don't have 14 employees. You don't have 18 artists that depend on you. You don't have a recording studio in your property. You don't have a 1 acre pond. You know, we had a 1 acre pond. You know, my property's not even probably now a 1/4 acre. You know what I'm saying? So I had these beliefs, man, that were false. So when we lost everything. I mean, we lost our house. We couldn't make the mortgage payments on it. We lost everything. And so we got into the world of reality. And one thing that I determined to do, you know, I was arrogant. I was cocky. I had greed issues. I had a lot of things that God had to deal with me on. And he did. He humbled me. And so when I got in this business, I determined that I would not repeat the mistakes of my past, and I haven't. You know, I've just come up with new mistakes, you know, right? No, but I haven't repeated those. But what I want to tell people is, you know, failure is never final and success is never ending. So when you look at a snapshot of the housing market and you take a 10-year snapshot, well, we had some bad years. But guess what? If you look at it from a 10-year trajectory, you're going to see every 10 years, you know, you're just looking at those 100-year snapshot, it's going up. And that's how our life should be. Our life should be going up constantly, should be climbing new heights. Yeah, that's what I teach my students.
That's really good, man.
I have a question. So let's go back to, okay, so I'm fascinated by the 6-month launch that you, your business. So let's go back to that. So, you know, explain what that preparation was like, right? So like, what was then the execution when you got your first listing? How did that happen?
You know, the funny thing is, man, when I started, I was getting called. Okay, so what I did, I'll give you a couple of ideas of what I did. So we had a little like a newspaper they called the Bargain Book, and then we had the Thrifty Nickel. So I had not a real big ad. I had like maybe a 1/8 page or 1/16 page ad in those. And here was my tagline. Everything I did all my branding was consistent. It said, thinking about selling, ? You're thinking about selling your home, ? List with Nolly, ! Selling less time, ! Get more money, ! Free consultation, with free in caps, free consultation. So that's all that was my whole messaging. Selling less time, get more money, not even grammatically correct, mind you. I mean, it was selling less time, get more money.
I hope you spelled money right.
Money. You know.
Oh, money? Okay, money.
No, I didn't spell it that way. Free consultation. And so people were calling me up. I used to work for before I started the record label, I worked for an attorney, and I was a graphic designer. I was always a marketing guy. And so I designed a lot of his marketing pieces and marketing stuff, and I worked on his staff. And I noticed that this guy, what he would do is he would lead with his free consultation, and he would just convert a percentage of people that came in. He was a bankruptcy attorney. And every day, man, he had people coming in like cattle, man. And he had them lined up, and he had this whole thing. He had a pre-recorded message. They would call in, they listen to the message. And I had the same thing. You call in, you listen to a 2-minute, like a pre-recorded message about me. Cause that was like, I mean, the internet was out, but I mean, we're talking 2003. So like not everybody had websites and stuff like that. So you call in, you get a quick recording, and then we had I had a phone system that was all, you know, automation stuff. And then they would set up a free consultation. That was my whole gimmick, free consultation. Now everybody has a free consultation, but a lot of people don't advertise it, right? And so the way I did it was I baited them. I put the bait out there, and the bait was, are you thinking about selling your home? See, if you ask somebody, do you want to sell your home? The answer is probably going to be no, or I don't know. But if I say, are you thinking about selling your home? They say, yeah, I thought about it. Okay, well, I offer free consultation.
Everybody, I mean, I bought my house 3 years ago, and I think about it all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
People think about it.
Yeah.
It's all the way you phrase it.
It's all the way you phrase it. So that was on I had 4 billboards, and I had ads in 2 different papers. I had, I was doing the expireds big. I was handling my Sphere of Influence. My Sphere of Influence campaign essentially has always been the same. It's 4 postcards, 2 phone calls, and 12 newsletters. Okay. Back then it was a paper newsletter that I would physically mail it out to their house. And then it just became an e-newsletter. So it's an 18 touch campaign. And so I call them twice a year. I postcard them 4 times, and then I do a 12 touch on the newsletter. And then I'd had the expireds going. I had the billboards. I had but see, all this was strategic, and I had to figure out how could I do it at low to no cost.
Well, that's a question we have from the audience right there, actually, Nolly.
Yeah.
Let's see, anonymous attendee is asking. I like anonymous questions.
I love how it's anonymous. They don't want to know who it is.
Yeah, other than lenders, who else do you utilize to partner with to invest into your farm area or lead systems?
Yeah, so I have a list of 42 trades. Let me see if I can go there now. There's 42 different trade categories, but I usually just recommend about 6 of them. Let me see if I can go there real quick in my book. But what I tell people is don't get I'm not finding it right off in that chapter, but so there's 42 different categories, and the best people when it comes to partnering for, like, let's say you're going to 1,000 houses. Great question. You're going to 1,000 houses. Who wants to be in front of those same people? You want to be in front of them, but who else wants to be in front of them? Okay, maintenance people that cut grass and stuff like that. You're going to have a handyman, a person that's real handy and they like to work that particular area of town. They want to be, because when you're doing every door direct mail, you can be specific even to the household income and the areas that you target. Like I tell people, it costs the same amount to market to the hood as to the good, right? So, and I lived in the hood, so I can talk about it.
Hey, me too. We come from the same town, man.
I raised up,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you just say from the hood to the good?
From the hood to the good, baby. That may not be politically correct.
That's definitely not.
That is the best quote.
But the point is, I see people all the time. They come to me for coaching, and I'm like, man, wait, that farm is jacked up. Have you driven through there lately? Would you want to live there? Look, you want to market to the places where you want to live. Now it should be nearby, okay? And if you don't live there already, it's like, man, I can see myself living here. That should be your farm area, right? But okay, so local restaurants is another good one. Yeah. Painters, roofers, plumbers, electricians. I mean, the list of trades goes on and on. But I have 42 different trade categories in my Success with Listings book.
Wait, can you pick that up?
Hold it up, buddy.
So we can all see it. What's the title of that?
It's called Success with Listings. Is it reversed? Is it transversing?
No, it's perfect.
Yeah. I think version 2 should be called From the Hood to the Good.
From the hood to the good.
No. I think it should be called Hot and Heavy.
Hot and Heavy.
That's what it should be called.
Nolly, taking you from the hood to the good.
From the hood to the good.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna comment about your touch campaign to your sphere because it's interesting because everyone thinks way too much into these touch campaigns.
No doubt.
You send 4 postcards a year, right? And if you think about it, there's definitely 4 holidays that you could send those postcards on.
Around,
right?
yeah.
That way you don't have to think too much, like New Year's, 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day, whatever, you want to pick, Thanksgiving. Right. There's your postcards or your greeting cards, right?
Yeah.
And then probably your flyers could be, seasonal, like why spring is a good time to sell, or anyone who wants to buy in the summer or whatever. It can be very strategic and easily scheduled out, right?
Yeah. But what I teach most of my students is there's basic strategies, there's core strategies. So like when you play Monopoly, like we used to be. Me and my boys, we used to hang out. In fact, I just got together with one of my buddies in outside Sarasota, Florida. He's over there. But we used to have these Monopoly games, and we would play for like 3 days, the same game, right? And we would put a sheet over the table, like, because we were kids, like, we're like young, and we would put a sheet over the table, and then we'd come the next day, take the sheet off, and continue our game. And like, to me, real estate is one big game. People take it way too serious. When you take it serious when it's not, a lot of people think it's really serious, and I get that, and that's your philosophy. I'm not about right or wrong. I'm just saying, for me, it's a game. I'm playing a game. I'm moving my pieces around. So the point is, what I teach my students is, when it comes to the 4 postcards, just if you have let's say you have 1,000 people, let's say you have 250 people on your list, okay? Make 1,000 postcards and send them the same postcard 4 times a year. I mean, I get stuff from Chick-fil-A and Subway and stuff like that in the mail. I don't know if it's the same piece they sent 3 months ago. I don't check, but I tell you this, all you're trying to do is touch these people. Now, if you want to start getting creative, do. But for the majority of my students, here's what happens. Summer rolls around, they get real busy. They're like, I'm about to put my postcard together, and they do it themselves, big mistake. And they're trying to do all this stuff. And they're like, okay, and they missed the deadline. And they're like, okay, no problem, I'll get it out next month. Well, guess what? Now you're just a month away from your next one, so you skip it. And if you really want, see, automation, when you automate, by the way, delegation is automation. So when anything that, for most agents, what I tell them is, if you really want something done, delegate. Because people say, well, if I want it done right, I do it myself. No, because if you want it done, you ain't gonna do it. Because I know how most agents are, they don't get stuff done. What they focus on is the urgent, not the important. Okay, that's how most agents are. They focus on what needs to get done right now, and they completely sidestep the important things that need to get done. And it's important to stay on top of your SOI. If you're touching them, all you're doing, my whole premise is you're just letting them know I'm still in the business and I still need business. Okay, I'm still in the business and I still need business. And that's all you're doing because people will forget that you're even in the business. They'll be doing deals. Next thing you know, they bought a house with somebody else, or they, cousins and people that you should be staying in touch with. They're like, oh, we just bought a house. They want you to be happy with them. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not staying in touch with them. And an 18 touch is hitting them every 3 weeks. You know, I guarantee you, if you went to college with somebody, you had a college roommate, and you stay in touch with them every 3 weeks, will they ever forget who you are? Never, right? So you really don't have to touch them more than that. And so what I teach is this: for your 2 phone calls, you do that to your top 200. That means you're only making 1 phone call a day, okay? Because you're gonna call them twice a year. That's your top 200. You make 1 phone call. Or if you like your nights and weekends like I do, you make 2 phone calls a day. That's it. Then when it comes to your postcard, you get that postcard printed, you give it to somebody else on your team. If you don't have a team like that, you give it to a neighbor down the street, a college student, and you say, here's the labels. I want these to go out on these dates. And you delegate it, give them the postage and let it get done. And then when it comes to your monthly newsletter, I like to just set it and forget it. I use an online one that we created called More Solds, MORESOLDS. It's $5 a month for the newsletter. I don't care what people use. The point is, it should be automated, because if it's not automated, guess what? You won't do it. It needs to be one of these where it just automatically goes out. So these other touches are just in between the time when you get them on the phone again, right? And then when you get them on the phone, the best conversation is, you talk a little bit about, you take notes on what you talked about last time, and then you catch up for a couple minutes on, hey, how's Susie? I know she went off to college in August, and how's this? How that new puppy that y'all got? Stuff like that. And then you say, you know what, Nick, the reason why I'm calling is because I've got a big problem and I need your help. You say, well, what's going on? How can I help you? Well, my big problem right now is inventory. I need more. We're selling houses left and right. They're going fast. And I've got a lot of buyers that can't get into a house because there's no inventory. Who do you know that needs to sell their house? That's looking to sell their house right now? Well, Nolly, I'm not thinking. Well, what I want you to do is start thinking about it. And here's what I want you to do when you think about it. I want you to do this. And then you start educating those top 200, your inner circle, with the right scripts, so that anytime they come across somebody like that, because you're going to hit them again in 6 months with the same phone call, right? And they're going to get used to that pattern.
I was going to say.
Yeah. Well, what I do.
Problem.
Yeah. What I do, Nick, is I say, hey, Nick, would it offend you if in about 6 months or so, I just check in with you and your family again? And if I'm still having that problem, I check in with you, see who else you might know. Would that offend you? And you'd be like, no, I wouldn't be offended by that. Great. Now I've already set an appointment to call you in 6 months, right? Without even asking you to do it. So you're expecting my call, and when I call you, you know why I'm calling. You got your people ready? Who you got, huh? I want them, right? So they know that you're just not on the sidelines, man. You're an active agent. You're not just an agent sitting in an open house waiting for people to come in. You know, you're an agent that's going out and actually going in the field and bringing people in. See what I'm saying?
And they won't know that unless you're contacting them and letting them know.
They won't know, man, and they won't even think about it. People live in their own world, man.
So
they got their own issues.
From the audience again, anonymous attendee has another question here.
That's a popular guy. You know, I used to read a lot of his stuff. Anon wrote a lot of things, boy.
It's good. If you use multiple vendors, how do you fit everyone on the advertising?
Okay, let me give you an example.
Ooh, I love examples.
Yeah, so let me see if I have one. Oh man, I don't think I have. Okay, I'm not prepared, guys. By the way, since I'm rummaging back here, y'all can't see what I'm doing. This is my very first copy of Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Oh wow!
And this is the edition. Can you see it?
Did you bind that yourself, or did you buy it like that?
No. What happened was, I bound it myself. But what happened was, I walked into Keller Williams' office, and they just gave me a copy, you know, and I didn't even join Keller Williams. I went with Remax. But I was using all their stuff.
That's awesome.
I was using all the sauce, the secret sauce. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for the free book.
Yeah, thanks for your book. Yeah. And so no, I'm with KW now, but I just tore it up, and I would read this book twice a year. Anyway, I don't have the example that I want to show you guys, but here, let me just show you on another book. So let's say, for example, this is a postcard. Okay, so the front of the postcard would be your there'll be all your stuff, your marketing piece. Now the back of the postcard, let's say you just took this half right here and you split it into 6. Okay, so you got 6 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I don't have a good visual for you, but this is about a 5x7. That's about the kind of postcard you want. When you're thinking postcard, don't think a 6x4 standard postcard. Think a 5x7 or 5.5 by 8.5. You always, when you're doing postcards, you always want to do jumbo postcards. Okay?
Yeah,
bigger is better. And so you could easily fit a number of trades on the back. I've got another book where I've got a bunch of trades in there. But anyway, what's that? What happened?
Nothing.
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing
at Nick. I'm laughing at Nick.
Your catchphrases, Nolly. That's all.
Oh,
you want to know what, Nolly? I'm thinking of titles for your books. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I got all the titles. You just got to write the content. You know,
dude, you have the best quotes. The best.
Anybody need a title for a book or an album cover? I got it. Call Nolly. Listen, I was gonna say, so you split that up. Okay, so you have 6 boxes.
Mm-hmm.
You have 6 boxes, and so that's kind of where you place your partners.
Yeah, and they don't have a big spot. I mean, you're thinking about like a little smaller than a business card size spot, you know. And
the jumbo cards are better because they stick out when the mail comes, like there in your face.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, no doubt. So you know, you can take.
On that,
go ahead.
This time it's for Mark Freebairn.
Okay.
And sorry if I screwed up your last name, Mark, but not anonymous. Who do you use to print your jumbo postcards?
I like GotPrint, GOTPRINT.net, GotPrint.net. I've been using them since the music business days.
You can order like 1,000 postcards for like $20.
Man, they're very professional. And you know, dude, they're out of Pacoima, man. They have a printing.
Oh, no way.
No, they have a printing. They got one here in Texas too, but they have a printing plant in Pacoima, dude.
Okay.
So they got all those ex-criminals. They got those ex-criminals in there, man, running those presses, boy.
They have to have somebody. It's good.
Yeah. So, but they do good printing. They do good printing.
That's hilarious.
All right, Renata has a comment for you. It says, "Thank you, Nolly!" Exclamation marks. I'm enjoying the webinar so much, and you are in Austin too. That was a good comment.
Cool. Thank you.
And we got Ruth Feast. What's the name of the printing company again? Oh, okay. GotPrint.net. I just typed it in there.
Did you type it in? Okay, good for you.
Yeah, I typed it in. Let's see. Nope. I think that's it. That's all for the questions right now, but they'll keep on coming.
Let's go back to selling houses. So, all right. So you had a team at your height, right? So obviously people are tuning in because wow, you took 1,000 listings.
Oh yeah.
Last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So talk about, did you have a team? What was the structure? All that stuff that agents want to know about.
Yeah. So when I took the most listings, my team has always been very small, because I learned I personally learned, I'm not saying this is the way it should be done, but my own story is I learned that you don't need as many people as you think you do, and more people are capable, fewer people are capable of more than what they know they are, and so I like to get maximum output with a minimum input, put it that way. And so my team has always been, when I went 7th level, I had an operations manager. He kind of ran the whole operation. 7th level means that I was working out. I wasn't in the business. I worked about maybe an hour to 3 hours a week in the business. And I had just for those that don't know. And so, so I had a operations manager at the very top. Always, it starts with administrative people. My first admin person, she just retired. Literally, this is her last week. But she started when I was 8 months in the business. She started with me. And so that was my first hire. My second hire was admin. When you hire people, you always hire admin people first. Okay. So you start with your admin people because the admin people are going to get the stuff off your plate that you should not be doing. Here's the thing. Here's what most people don't realize. And I'm getting a little off topic on this, but when it comes to listings, because that's what I focused on, 96% of my business has always been listings.
Wow.
When it comes to listings, there are 46 activities that go into every listing that you take, 46 activities. So the first activity is to generate the lead, okay? And then activity number 46 is a post-closing activity. So there's 5 post-closing activities. There's a lot of contract to close stuff in there and all the other stuff. What I've isolated it down to, though, is that there are only 3 to 6 things, and you could say 5 to 6 things that you should personally be doing out of all 46. The other 41 activities or 40 activities, depending on which ones you decide to do, but at most you should be doing 6 things in that list. They're administrative in nature. They're purely administrative in nature. So 91.3% of all the activities that go into every listing you take can be delegated, okay? And that leaves you with doing less than 10% of the activities. And so at my height, what I did was I had my 2 admins, I had 1 agent, and sometimes 2 agents, okay, and an operations guy. So my team has always been 4 or 5 people at the most, right? But I could do 100 deals, man, with just me and 2 admins, and have all my nights and weekends off. It's no problem. Wow. It's a piece of cake, yeah. But you got to know how to delegate things. You got to take stuff off your plate, because the truth is, most of the stuff that agents are doing, they have no business doing it. Most of the activities.
A lot of questions here, Nolly. I think when you asked for questions, everyone started asking questions. So
okay, my bad.
Here we go. We're gonna do a little quick rapid fire, okay? Because we've got 8 different ones.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief.
How do you separate yourself in a saturated market, specifically Austin?
Well, the first thing you do is you decide what is your goal? What's your number? What do you want to do? What's your objective? Okay. And, forget about the whole separation thing at first. Just ask yourself, what do I want to do? How many deals do I want to do? Once I know that number from you, and I know your why behind the number, I can't just have the number, but I got to know the why behind it. Because a lot of times people will throw out a number like, I want to do 100 deals. I won't side road because I know we got questions. But the point is, once you decide what that number is, you tell me, hey, I want to do 50 deals or 40 deals, whatever it is. Then let's look at the market. What can the market bear? Well, I happen to know that in Austin, in the Austin market, you're talking about over 20-some thousand houses selling per year. Okay. So you times that by 2, because every house has 2 sides. You're talking about 48,000 transactions. You want to do 48 deals out of 48,000. I think there's enough in there for you to do that. Right. So when you look at the big picture and you look at the small picture of what you're trying to do, you focus on what do I want and how am I going to get what I want. Okay. So let's say you told me you wanted to do 60 deals. Right away, I'm going to tell you, if you want to do 60 deals, that's 5 deals a month. Okay. You're going to do 3 from your sphere of influence, 1 from your farm, and 1 from your niche. You got your 5 deals right there. Here's the thing that most agents don't realize.
That's good.
If you take care of the front door, the back door will take care of itself. Okay, let me say it again. If you take care of the front door, the back door will take care of itself. Because most agents are focused on closings. You don't focus on closings. You focus on appointments. Okay, how many appointments does it take for you to have 50 closings? Okay, that's just a math. Those are algorithms. If you go to my website, successwithlistings.com, you can download for free. If you go to the page where you get the free book, because I give the book away free as well. We ship that to you, just pay shipping. But there's another section on there at the very bottom where you can download a calculator where all you have to do is plug in your numbers and it'll tell you how many appointments you need to have to reach your goal. Everything boils down to appointments. It's not about closings. It's not about how many listings you took. It's how many appointments you went on. And then
Nolly, what's the website again?
Successwithlistings.com.
Successwithlistings.com.
Yeah, and then and play around on there. But anyway, so you separate yourself. You don't really have to separate yourself in a big way, because some people say, well, do I have to wear a cowboy hat? Heck no. If anything, people are like, you do farm and ranch? See, I wore a cowboy hat in the music business. So it was just something that I did, and I just brought it over with me. The thing is, you have your own sphere of influence, okay? Most people only know 2 or 3 realtors, okay? So all of the people that you know only probably know 2 or 3 other people like you. So you really don't have any competition. If you just start reaching out to your people 18 times a year, you'll be the only one that does that. And you'll stand out just by following the system. You see what I'm saying? So don't make it too complicated.
All right, here's another question for you.
So, Nolly, what you're saying is all we need is a cowboy hat? Is that what you're saying?
No. Cowboy hats probably lost me some deals, but I just don't want to give it up.
I hear you, man. Be you.
All right, Nolly, do you think it's a problem not to include a picture of yourself in marketing materials?
It's a huge problem when you don't have 30% of your marketing piece as your photo and or logo. That's branding 101, okay? The 21 immutable laws of branding, things like that. What you got to do when it comes to branding is your photo and or logo has got to be at least 30% of any ad piece that you put out.
It's interesting that you say that, because we talk about that a lot in the group about whether or not you should have your picture on your business cards or any of your marketing or your signs. And, I firmly believe that it's important to have your photo on as much as possible, because real estate is about relationships and trust.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, people can kind of gauge whether they trust you just by seeing who you are. That's
true. That's definitely true. And here's the thing. I come from the entertainment industry. So a lot of times I'm going to tell you things that I'm dogmatic, but I'm not necessarily right. It's not right or wrong. Somebody else may experience something else. But in the entertainment field, you give me one actor, one singer, there might be one famous person that doesn't show their face, okay? It's going to be very few and far between. And if they don't show their face, they got a logo or they got a name already, right? People, when they see that name, like it might be a book by, Stephen King or whoever, right? Well, when you see the name, that's their image, right? Because they've already gotten to that point. They've earned that. But really, you gotta, what I teach my students is to become famous. When you become famous in the areas it's like running for mayor. How you gonna run for mayor? Nobody knows who you are. You don't put out no signage. Your pictures ain't on nothing. You know, people, when they see me, they think I'm running for mayor. They're like, what's this boy do? You know, oh, he sells houses. Oh, I thought he was running for, you know, such and such office, you know? Because if I was running for political office, you know what? My signage, none of my stuff would have to change at all. I would just change what I'm doing. For deputy sheriff, Nolly Williams, you know, or whatever it is.
You're halfway there with the hat. You're almost the sheriff with the hat.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that. It's like you got to run for mayor. You know, you got to act like you're running for mayor. You know,
that's what it is,
shake
man.
hands and kiss babies. That's what you have to do.
Absolutely. You got to get yourself out there, and there's no better time to do it than now. I mean, look at what we're doing, man. I'm in Austin, Texas. You guys are where are you at, Nick? You're in the.
I'm in New Jersey, but you know what? Not only is there no better time to do it, there's no easier time to do it.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy, man.
Like with everything, all the technology we have,
No
man.
doubt.
It's so easy to put yourself out there. So you still have a team, Nolly, that's running or no?
No, I don't really have a team, man. I gave that up. My guy that was running my team, I set him up with his own team, keep 100% of his money. And my passion, what I did was my wife and I decided we did a lot of prayer, and we paid off everything. We paid off our house, our cars, all credit cards, stuff like that. We have no debt. And then we said, you know, we don't have debt, so what do we want to do? Like, what do we really want to do? And my crazy vision is my purpose is to inspire others to become all that God created them to be, so that they can live the lives that they were meant to live. Because I truly believe that most people on the earth, most real estate agents, are not living the true fulfilled life that they were intended to live here. And it's my passion to see them living a better life. You know, a lot of people think that life is just, a lot of people live very compartmentalized, and you see that when you see me in my training and stuff, I'm not compartmentalized at all. I'm not even politically correct in many ways. I talk about Jesus, you know, who's my passion. I talk about my diet stuff because I eat a lot of raw. You know, I eat probably 90% raw on my diet, and people don't realize that as human beings, I can teach you how to get very rich. I mean, I taught a lot of people how to become millionaires. One guy was standing at his house. He said, Nolly, I made $1.3 million. And he's a tree tracks, all this stuff. He said, I made $1.3 million on one technique that you taught me. And he started showing me how he made the money on this one system that I taught him how to do. And what I learned was, though, that people can make all this money, but they still go home to empty lives, empty homes. They're not fulfilled. They're not happy. And so I teach people, you know, you got 4 bodies. You got a spiritual body, a mental body, you got a physical body, and you have an emotional body. And you got to take care of all 4 of those bodies. So I just came to understand that my reason on earth, although I love selling houses, I got 4 closings today. Okay. And there was 2 closings I couldn't go to. Got one. I still have an agent on my team, a buyer agent, because I won't say I won't do buyers. I have to scratch that because I just did 2 buyers last week. Right. But my thing is that I love being around people that I love to be, but I don't like the buy side of business. So I just don't do it much. The point is, though, that my passion is teaching people how to become truly themselves. And a lot of people hold back. Their biggest regret is going to be that they did not unleash their full potential. And they have so much more than what they're given. You come to me talking about, you want me to teach you how to sell 50 houses? Man, that's easy. That's child's play. How about if I teach you how to be a better dad, a better husband, you know, a better member of your community? How about if I teach you to do like lab coat agents and give back? Man, you guys are doing something I've never seen done in real estate business. I mean, you guys are giving from the heart, man. That's what puts me to tears and gets me like riled up and excited, man. I mean, I love what you guys are doing.
We're just learning from you, man.
I love it, man. Sorry, you're gonna take me there. I'm not gonna.
That was really nice,
well, first of all, thank you for that. We appreciate
man.
it. That's all we're trying to do. It's interesting because it rang a bell just now. I recently saw. I was recently in LA at a conference, and I saw Rory and Gracie. You know Rory and Gracie?
Yeah.
So I saw Rory and Gracie. He's one of the keynotes, and he was talking about how. I mean, this guy's a lot like you in the sense that his diet is only to like nourish his body.
Yeah.
And, you know, the guy is just all about fitness and health. And he said he would rather be poor, right?
Yeah.
With like no clothes on his back, standing in the rain in a puddle of mud,
Right.
you know, but completely healthy than sick lying in a bed in a palace. And
Absolutely.
you know, I think that's what. And look, I mean, I used to be. My health used to be of. I mean, my health is still of utmost importance to me. But like, it's hard, man. Like, I got little kids running around. I'm trying to run a business. We're doing lab coat agents, and like, it's hard. You know, I mean, but that's, you know, you got to take care of yourself in order to. You got to be rich. You know, with your
no doubt, man. No doubt about it.
And so not only with that,
yeah.
There's a question that goes perfectly with what both of you were talking about. Okay. How do you schedule your day then when you're selling real estate and including these 4 bodies that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I actually have a chapter on that. You know, the typical day of a listing specialist. Now when you think about a listing specialist, though, you think about, and this is what I teach people to become is listing specialists. I get it that a lot of people like working with buyers, and I understand that. But what I'm going to tell you, though, is that you can work about 4, maybe even 5 sellers in the same time it takes to work 1 buyer. Okay, it's just there's just a lot fewer activities, and there's a lot more stuff you can delegate. So what I do and what I teach is every single morning, and the number one reason that only 13% of real estate agents succeed in the first 5 years of business is that they do not time block for lead generation. And that's it. So every morning from about 9 to 11, that's what you're doing. Okay. Now when you first wake up, let's take your day back to when you first wake up. So you first wake up, you nourish the inner man. Okay. And that, to me, that's reading, meditation, and prayer. Okay. You nourish the inner man. Then you nourish the outer man. That is the intake of food, what you take in, right? So you do this from between 7:30 and 9 o'clock. From 9 to noon is all about 3 things: generating new leads, following up with existing leads, or implementing marketing plans and strategies. Okay, so that's all called lead generation. That's from 9 to noon. You take a 1-hour break, okay, for lunch, and then from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you're going on appointments. That's all you're doing. You're going on the appointments that you set up the early part of the day. So that's how your day looks. 5 o'clock, you're done. You go home. You get theoretically, and then your nights and weekends off. But you have to be highly leveraged. See, we only had 2 problems in this business. I learned this from Gary Keller. In this business, real estate agents will only ever have 2 problems. You either don't have enough leads or you don't have enough leverage. You'll really never have another problem than that. You don't have enough leads. That means you're not meeting your goals, or you don't have enough leverage, which is people, systems, and tools, right? And when you're doing a lot of business and you don't have enough people, systems, and tools to handle that, that's another big problem. We had a week where we took 21 listings in 1 week, and I know people that take more than that. I mean, I did 1,000. Look, I did 1,000 listings, over 1,000 listings in 10 years. You and I know people that do that in 1 year, right? Of course. Yeah. So big deal, right? But the point is, my whole thing, I have a natural handicap because when I took the AVA, the DISC, and then the new KPA that's out, I score lower than you can possibly. I have the lowest possible score you could have as a lead lister. Like, I'm not a lister. There's no reason why I should be successful at listings whatsoever. And so what I teach my students is, if I can succeed, I guarantee you 90% of the people walking out there in real estate can succeed far more than me, because I don't have the high D that it supposedly takes to succeed in this business. You know, it's all about perspective, man. And it's all about working with what you can do. You know, wow, that's why you got guys with no arms and legs, man, that go out and speak to hundreds of thousands of people, because they are living their life without limitations, man. That's very true. People that have everything that they need to succeed are limiting themselves. It's a shame.
Yeah. Well, dude.
Sorry. Let's get it back on a good note. Come on,
that's pretty deep, man. I was like,
taking it all in, man. I'm taking it all in.
I'm trying to. Well, here's a question from the audience. We've got a crap load now. Marjorie.
How long did this thing go anyway? I blocked out 3 hours.
That's it. You know what? We'll go an extra 10 minutes for you.
Okay.
Marjorie Olivo says, hold on. people asking questions. Thanks a lot. If you could give one advice to a new agent, what would it be?
For a new agent, the one advice I would give is always do your lead generation. I mean, it's the one thing. I mean, there's a lot of advice that I would give, but always do your lead generation and do it every single day without fail. It's the one thing that I've consistently done throughout my business, throughout my career, that I've consistently done when I learned about it, when I learned about time blocking for lead generation, that I've never given up. And it's allowed me to get to where, God has taken me. The other thing I would say is get my free book. People want to pick my brain, and it took me 430 pages to pick it. It's a big book, right? But it becomes a reference manual. Go to Amazon and read the reviews that people are saying about this.
You put the link up there.
Yeah, and then if you want to get it, go to successwithlistings.com. I'll send it to you for free, right? You just pay the shipping. And that way you have it in your hand, and because there's so much to cover in an hour, it just really doesn't do it.
I'm going to order it, man.
Good.
I'm doing it too. Nolly, what were the 4 bodies? We had 4 questions, the same one. What were the 4 bodies again?
Yeah, so every person on the earth has 4 bodies. We have a physical body, okay? We have a spirit. So think about this. We have a physical, a spiritual body. We have an emotional body, okay? That's the emotion, the feeling. And then we have a mental body, the mind, okay? A lot of people don't realize that it's impossible to make complete decisions just by using the mind, okay? And so what happens, though, is that people limit themselves when they only call into play their mental faculties, or they focus too much on health. Like I eat 90% raw, but I could go too far with that, right? And then I'm neglecting other things. I'm healthy as heck, but guess what? My family's falling apart, right? Or I'm not taking care of the spirit man. So yeah, there's 4 bodies that we all have, and we got to nourish and take care of all 4 of them. Very key.
Here's a really good question. It has to do with the fact that you teach and you're an educator.
Yeah.
So Rich Stephan says KW is known to be an education/coaching company.
Yeah.
Why would a KW agent consider your services when they can get training coaching from KW using the MREA program?
Well, what I teach people is drink from many fountains. That's like me saying, why would I go to have sushi over here when I can have Chinese over there? When I was a big out to eater, and I was a baker, man. I used to bake cakes, pies, cookies. Now I'm gluten free, right? But do you think I only had cookies and I only had them from one bakery? No, buddy. I might have an Americano with a cinnamon bun. Today I ain't feeling like that. I want a lemon cake. Tomorrow's carrot cake. I was a junk food junkie. Don't get me started on that. But what I tell people is drink from many fountains. And I have people, if you look at the quotes, I'm not saying that my training is any better or worse, but people have been to bowl, they've been to all kinds of stuff. I've been to all that stuff. And I get it from everywhere I can. I'll go to a RE/MAX conference, I go anywhere. And I teach anybody. I don't just teach Keller Williams agents. That's the reason why I'm not a Keller Williams trainer. I do not teach Keller Williams agents. I teach real estate agents. Here's the thing. We live in a cooperative industry, do we not? If I put a house for sale, who's going to bring me a contract? Is it going to be another Keller Williams agent? I don't care. It could be a RE/MAX agent. I don't care who it is. Bring me my contract, right? And so we're in a cooperative industry, and I cooperate. I teach anybody. If you want to learn, come. Uncle Nolly, we got the training for you. But I don't teach just get your training from. I get a lot of great information tips from Keller Williams. But there's not one fountain out there, guys. And those that think that there is, like, who eats at one restaurant? Raise your hand if you eat at one restaurant, and that's the only restaurant you're going to eat at for the rest of your life. My hand's going down, baby, because I like a lot of different places. And
there's so many. Like for me, I implement a lot of different systems.
You were just talking about one this morning. Doing an automated follow-up. Yeah. Man, that's pimp.
Well, we're gonna talk about that later in the group.
That's tight.
The thing is, for me, my business is a lot of my sphere of influence.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of internet leads. So I
Yeah.
need a couple different systems in place, and I need to learn from multiple sources on how
Right.
best to do that. So there's not one magic fountain that can teach you everything you need to know.
No.
And that's what you just said. Lab Coat Agents doesn't Tristan and I are KW agents, but we don't teach KW agents. We teach agents.
Period.
Teach real
I love
estate.
all people, man. It's just like my friends. You know, I happen to be, people classify me as a Christian, which I'm a lover of Jesus, right? But man, I got friends that hate Jesus, man. I got friends that don't believe in God. I got friends that are Muslim, or Hindu, and a lot of people don't like it. They're like, man, you hanging out with it. Man, I like people, man. I like all people. And so I just, my thing is I don't really draw lines like that. And I don't really put categories around where I'm just going to be, I love KW, man. They've done a lot for me. They've had me on stages, and that's why I'm still loyal to them. But what I found myself is that you got to find your voice. You got to find your voice. Stop reading too many books. It's good to read books. I'm a big reader. I read books all the time. But start writing your own book. Is there anything wrong with that? Start writing your own book. Don't just get all your ideas from one book. That make sense?
Yeah, man. It totally makes sense. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more questions. We're going to wrap up in 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll get it.
Name of automated newsletter company? Did you mention that? I don't even remember.
I use Moresolds, MORESOLDS. Moresolds.
Moresolds.com.
Moresolds.
That sounds like it's specific to real estate too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, and another question by April Harper. Great seminar. I have thought about not doing my photo due to not wanting anyone to not give me an opportunity due to them seeing I'm different from them. Yeah. Has that ever been an issue for you, Nolly?
I have a lot of people that because of I don't believe in race. That's a whole nother conversation. I believe that there's one race, it's the human race. And I think that when we start talking about, I'm black, I'm this is just my physical packaging, so I don't really believe that. See, the true Nolly is a spirit, right? Is my soul. So just because I came to this earth packaged in, the Bible teaches that I existed before I came here. So, I existed in the heart of God. So he said, I knew you before I put you in your mother's womb. So because I have an exterior packaging that looks a certain way, it doesn't hinder me. It never holds me back. I put myself out there. This is the packaging that God gave me. And now I had a very well-known KW agent pull me aside and ask me this question that you would know who she is if she asked. She says, being what we call African-American or black or whatever it might be, or some might be Hispanic or whatever it is, would that hold you back? I can't say that it has. I don't know, because I am what I am. So it's possible that somebody didn't list with me because of my skin tone or whatever it might be. But I wouldn't know that because they didn't call me to list. They didn't take me up on the free consultation. So how would I know that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But here's the thing. I still took over 1,000 listings. So when somebody didn't list with me, because I would go on listing appointments and I go up against 2 or 3 agents, and I would love it, man. I would tell them, like if Tristan, Nick, and Nolly were going on a listing appointment, I would just tell the homeowner, I'd say, well, it sounds like a lot of appointments you're having. Why not just have all 3 of us there at the same time? They say, what? I say, yeah, just have all 3 of us there. I love doing that, don't you? See, I'm a debater. I love debate. And so I tell them, I say, no problem. Just call them up and let them know Nolly Williams will be, and they would just cancel the appointment, right? It's kind of like intimidation, right?
You know what? I'm not even trying.
No, but Nick and Tristan, they're on their game. So they'd be like, what's up, fool? We down. We going to do this. I have fun with that. And look here, if I didn't win the listing appointment, I'm not like, oh, it's because I look different or this and that. I feel sorry for the homeowner because they didn't get the best, baby. They could have. No, I genuinely, if you go up,
for sure.
Yeah, if you go up against another agent and you don't get it, you should feel sorry for that homeowner. Your game should be so tight that you should be like, you know that they're not in the best hands, and so you feel bad for them.
There have been times. I mean, every time I don't get a listing, I watch that listing like a hawk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because listen, There's a difference between confidence and cocky.
Absolutely. Oh, no doubt about that, man. Cocky, you know what cocky does? It lands you right on your face. That's what cocky does.
I mean, I'm confident in knowing that if someone doesn't listen to me, they're not going to get what I could have given them. They're just not.
Yeah, period. And that's because you put in that homework. You put in that work, man, and you know what you bring to the table versus every other person out there. When you bring that level of service to the table, there is no competition. I mean, it really isn't, you know?
Nolly?
Yeah.
All right, man, that's it. Do you have any last words for the audience? Everyone loves you, by the way.
Well, I love everybody. You know, my heart is in this. I had a teacher tell me one time, he said, Nolly, teaching is not something you choose. Teaching chooses you. Okay. So if you are a teacher, that's just what you are. That's what you got to do. And so I love you guys. I thank you for being on this, sharing this space. The biggest thing that people are investing is their time. And that's worth more than money. It's worth more than anything else that you have, because you just invested an hour of your time that you'll never get back. And so my commitment is always to make it worthwhile.
Hey,
so
Nolly,
one person saying, are you currently accepting new students?
On my one-on-one coaching, I'm not, but we do have a new coaching group that's going to be really ultra low, less than $50 a month. And so we'll be accepting in that.
So now, if someone wants to jump into that group, or if they want to contact you, or they want to visit your websites, tell them where to go.
Yeah, just go to successwithlistings.com, and that'll have all my contact information. You know, we have a phone number there. Cool. I've got a gal, you know, that answers the phones.
You're leveraging.
Oh, no doubt about it, man. I love leverage.
And you still do real estate? You still do real estate? We love you, dude. Yeah. All right, you're out of Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Yeah, right? No doubt.
So if anyone has any referrals, send them over to Nolly.
Austin, Texas, baby.
Listen, there's a lot of heavy hitters down there in Austin, man.
Oh, yeah, man.
You're just in the club with them.
In the height of my game, you know, I was number 7 in the city. So I was the 7th top producer out of 10,000 or 9,500 agents.
Wow,
you know,
that's amazing.
But here's what I want to tell people. At some point, it just gets to where, you know, you've been there, you've done that, you checked it off. And why am I really here? What am I really supposed to do? So I'll still do, I mean, this month I'll probably close, we probably have about 7 deals that will close this month.
That's really good, man.
You know, but I just do it. I do it because I want to help people, but I don't do it because I need the money, put it that way. I'm not bragging. I teach all my students how to be debt free. You know, that's another thing I'd like to teach people.
I think that actually is very, I mean, you know, I think that, you know, you're still in the game, you know, and that's a lot of, that gives you a lot of, you know, positive, I mean, I'm trying, for some reason, the word
credibility.
Yeah, and there you go. It's just an easy word, right?
Yeah.
I haven't eaten lunch, Nolly. I didn't take my one break.
Well, it gives me relevancy.
Exactly. And like, I think for Tristan and myself, that's important. We always want to have a team. We always want to kind of be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Doing this. But I think
real estate is something that you should do to the day you die. I mean, this is I have never seen anything like this. It's magical, man. This is, and a lot of people don't realize the opportunity that a real estate career can afford them to do anything else that's their heart's desire. It really is not difficult when you leverage yourself. Anyway, stop me from talking, guys. Sorry.
All right, guys. We're gonna call it a wrap. Nolly, we're gonna do a part 2 to this, man.
Okay, I'd love to.
You have so much knowledge, and everyone's saying how much they love you.
It's Nolly knowledge.
The knowledge.
Nolly.
Yeah, okay.
Nolly. That's the next title of your book right there.
Nuggets from Nolly, baby.
All right. Nick, you're out of New Jersey. Nolly, you're out of Austin, Texas. And I'm out of Los Angeles.
You out of the hood,
we're
baby.
Triangle.
Triangle.
That's true.
Awesome.
No doubt.
See you, everyone. Thanks again.
Bye.
Love y'all.
Bye-bye.